My name is Charlie, and I have gained weight, which is no big deal. I'm in eating disorder recovery, and it makes total sense that I'm going to be gaining weight. However, as someone whose weight is constantly changing, I have an issue with clothes because my clothes are constantly not fitting me. I have to buy new ones, which isn't sustainable for my wallet or for the planet. So today I'm going to take 2 dresses and alter them so that they fit me now in the body that I have today, and then when they no longer fit the body I have today, I can try to alter them again or give them to someone who they do fit properly. Before we get into the sewing and the altering, I want to thank today's sponsor for the video, which is Ana Luisa. I'm very excited about this because I love Ana Luisa jewelry so much. I bought 2 pairs of their earrings earlier in 2020 because I was having a lot of issues with my ears. I have really sensitive skin, and I knew that I needed higher quality jewelry to keep my ears from getting infected. So I bought 2 pairs of Ana Luisa jewelry back in January of 2020, and they helped my ears so much. I was so excited when Ana Luisa reached out to sponsor one of my videos because I already knew that I loved what they make. They also have a really great sustainability mission, which is important to me, especially when it comes to jewelry, because there are a lot of unsustainable practices in the jewelry making industry. So it makes me really happy that there are companies out there like Ana Luisa who are doing the thing and making jewelry that is sustainable and beautiful, and also is good for people with sensitive skin like me, because my ears have never been happier. On top of the sustainability mission, where they offset 100% of their carbon emissions, the jewelry is also built to last. It's not jewelry that's built for you to purchase over and over again, like a lot of the jewelry that I was buying before I started buying like legit real jewelry, which I really love because that is like, it's a sustainable purchase, but also their jewelry I feel like is actually fairly affordably priced. I think there's this idea that like fine jewelry or real jewelry is super expensive, but a lot of their jewelry starts at like $40 because I was going through so many pairs of little studs of earrings because none of them were suitable for my sensitive ears. So if you're interested in getting some of the Ana Luisa jewelry for yourself, you can check out the link in my description for 15% off of your order. So I got 3 pieces myself, and I have 2 necklaces and 1 pair of earrings. I got the Aries hoop earrings because I am an Aries girl. I got the Margot pendant necklace, and I got the Anna gold chain. This one is by far my favorite. I think it's super cute and dainty. And all of the pieces that I personally have, I'll link down below if you're interested in checking them out. The 2 pairs of earrings that I bought earlier last year, I'm not quite sure if they're available, but if they are, they will also be linked in the description, and I highly recommend them. So without further ado, let's get into the thrift flipping. So we're starting off with dress number 1, and the main goal to flip this dress is because it is too short, so I need to fix that. Super cute dress, but it is also very short, and it's backless, and I don't mind it being backless. However, it's super short. Like it fit me perfectly when I bought it from Plato's Closet probably like 2 or 3 years ago. However, I took it home and I washed it and it shrunk, and also then I continued to gain weight, so then it also continued to not fit me. So it's just a little too short for my comfort level, but I think it would be really cute as a set. Cutting it in half, turning the bottom, the skirt part just into a skirt, and the top part into a top kind of like this, where it's kind of like the bandeau crop top style that's open back. And I have lots of strings with this dress, so I don't think I'll have to actually make any straps myself, which would be super handy. So that's kind of the goal for this dress. So my first step with dress number 1 was to turn it inside out and to cut the skirt part from the top part. And doing it inside out made sure that I followed along the seam and didn't cut into any other part, because I've done that before. So here we just have the bottom part of the skirt. It doesn't have any elastic in it, but it's a great base to start with. And then here is the top, and it's got a raw edge at the bottom. So my first step was just to hem the bottom so there wouldn't be a fraying edge, and I don't like to measure or pin anything, so I just take it nice and slow and follow the measurements on my sewing machine. So once I finished the hem, I made sure to do a back stitch, and I tried it on to just see where I was at, and I was really happy with where it was going. So I cut off some of the extra strings that had this little like
thong looking back to it, and I used that to make some extra ties for the bottom part of the top. So I had enough on this little triangle to be able to make 2 little ties. However, one of them had a raw edge to it because I cut it just from the little triangle. So I had to sew it up on the sewing machine just to make sure that the tie was done. But this way was super easy because I didn't actually have to sew the ties myself, which is a pain. I hate sewing ties. And so I just attached them onto the corners of the top so that it would tie in the back with a bow, and I made sure to stitch them over like 3 times because I do not want them to rip. So now that the ties are done, it's time to move on to the skirt, and because I don't like to measure anything, I just like to try it on myself and kind of get a feeling of where we're at. So I measured some elastic just on my waistband of where I would want the skirt to lay on me and then cut it from there. I try not to use a measuring tape if possible. And then I kind of turned the top of the skirt into a scrunchie, so I just folded over a hem. So I'm hemming the top of the skirt and adding the elastic at the same time, and this way it'll act just like a scrunchie around my waist. And I like to take it slow again because, again, I don't like to pin anything because I'm impatient. So once the elastic was all sewn in, I made sure to do a back stitch to secure it and cut any tags and strings off. I tested out the elastic before trying it on. So here is the outfit all together, both pieces together as a set, and I think it turned out super cute. It does show a lot more of my stomach than the original because it does make it longer. And as you can see, there's a safety pin for the top because I couldn't figure out how to tie it the way I liked. But I think altogether it's super cute, and I wanted to style it a couple different ways. So I have it with some other types of pants, just with the top, which I think is super cute, and also I think the skirt was my favorite part with a sweater. My fave. And now it's time to move on to dress number 2, and the big issues with this one are the length and the arm holes.
Baby doll style dress. I hemmed it pretty short a couple years ago, but I really love it. It's got this patchwork style, and I think I thrifted it about 4 years ago, probably at a Goodwill or a local thrift store. But the problem with this dress is that the armholes are just way too tight. I have gained a lot more weight in my upper body recently, so my arms and my back and shoulders and all that stuff, which is no big deal, but it just means that one of my favorite dresses doesn't fit. So I'm going to turn it into like a tank top style baby doll dress, which I think will actually help with my length issue as well. So the goal is to cut the top of the dress and to make strips into little ties for the shoulders. Something along the lines of this dress would also be super cool because it has huge armholes, which would be really great for functionality purposes. Also, if my arms continue to grow, which they might, then this will fit me for a lot longer. But I'm really into the idea of like tying it at the top because it's more adjustable, and then because the neckline won't be the same, I can drop it a little bit more, so it'll be a little bit longer as well. So that would be super ideal, but we'll see what happens because you know me, I don't like to measure things, so I just wing it and hopefully it turns out.
So my first step with this dress was to sew up the armholes, and because this dress has a pattern on it, I just followed along the lines of the pattern. So sewing up the armholes is going to help me to drop the dress and drop the waist in it so that it is a little bit longer as well. So I just sewed up each armhole on each side, and here's a little zoom in of me sewing so you can watch me sew. And actually, luckily with this dress, I remember that there are ties on the back that tied it into a little bow, and so I'm going to use these ties to make straps instead of making my own. So here the dress is inside out, and I'm just going to cut off the extra fabric from when I sewed up the armholes. This way there's not going to be any bunching or anything on the sides. And the next step that I'm going to do is be cutting my new neckline, and I'm going to be following the old neckline, but it's going to be dropped a little bit when I wear it. So I'm just going to kind of roughly cut it, and then my favorite way to measure to make sure each side is equal is just to fold it in half and to match it on the other side. As you can see, I don't get it right the first couple times, but I'd rather cut off a little at a time than too much and then have to, you know, Frankenstein it back together. So after I cut the new neckline, I decided to hang it on myself to see if the straps would look good. And this is the point that I am going to be hemming down the top part of the neckline. And I also did this hem twice because I didn't actually like it the first time. There was a little V because I flipped the dress backwards actually, and that little V was the part that tied in the back of the dress before. And I turned it around because I thought it would be cool, like sweetheart neckline, but I ended up not liking it and just doing a straight across neckline later. But I'm just doing the same hemming as I did with the first dress for the top. I'm just following the measurements on my sewing machine, which makes it a lot easier than actually having to pin something. This was after hem number 1, and I didn't really like the neckline, so I decided to fold it down, and I was just checking the length of everything. So I'm rolling down the top to check to see if the length of the dress is still good if I make it a little bit shorter, and I was happy with that, so I decided to go ahead and hem it down a little bit more. And here I am again, just struggling to do it without pins or measuring. So once I sewed the top down, I decided to measure again on myself with my straps this time, and I just used some safety pins, and then I cut off any extra fabric. And I like to save cutting the extra fabric until after I've tried it on, just in case I need to use my seam ripper to change it. I highly recommend getting a seam ripper if you're like me and don't like to measure. So then I went back to the sewing machine and added the straps on, just like I did with the top for dress number 1. I went back and forth a few times just to make sure that they were on there secure. And before, when I measured the placement of the straps, I used the bra that I was wearing as a measurement because I really liked where they laid on me. And here I'm just going back and forth with my very messy strings because I am impatient and don't want to cut them in between every time I sew. So I'm just checking the back to make sure that the straps will be long enough, and it looks like they are. So I'm doing the same thing that I did with the front and just using a safety pin to secure them onto the dress until I can get to the sewing machine. And here is the final product. I wore it with a white long sleeve because I thought that it looked super cute, layered, and a green cardigan, of course.
Is it wintertime and I made a bunch of tank top dresses? Yes, but I can wear them in other ways and look cute. Also, it is California, so my windows are open. I'm not fooling anybody.
But I also wanted to share what the dress looks like without layers, so here is just braless, and I think it looks super cute. And here it is with a bralette, which I know is a little bit dated, but it is very cute and comfy.
So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video and my thrift flips that I did. It makes me so happy to take pieces that I already have and love and turn them into something that I can continue to wear even after I've gained weight. I think that there's obviously such a stigma around weight gain. I am super happy that I was able to do this and hopefully inspire you to do something similar if that tickles your fancy. Also, just another quick reminder that if you want to check out Ana Luisa, the link is in the description for 15% off of your order. I really love their stuff, and I'm so happy that they sponsored this video because it makes doing projects like this possible. So thank you so much again, Ana Luisa, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!